Hello guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for supporting my YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this A-line high-low gown so you can see with a down gathers. So that's what we're going to learn how to do today. It's a simple piece, so this is a very beautiful piece. So I actually made mine with a mikado, and the first picture I showed you, that one was done with an organza, with a bale organza. So but this mine I use mikado, so I'm going to be making use of about 4.5 yards of mikado. That's what I'm going to be making for using for this project. So it's a simple process. So the first thing you are going to do, you just fold your fabric at an angle. So can you see the way I folded this fabric? So from this point now I'm going to measure the length. So if you notice, the dress is like a two layered. So the first part depends on how long. So for this part I used about 34 inches, so you can see. So from that point you are just going to measure it from the down up. So when you have a straight line, then you mark a straight line. So on that straight line you will mark your shoulder line. So after marking the shoulder line, from that shoulder line you come down by 1 inch and just slope it. So after that, the next thing, you are going to mark your armhole measurement. So I'll use 9 inches for my armhole because I don't really want it to be tight, and then I'm going to curve that in. So the next thing you are going to do, you are going to mark your bust circumference, divide by 4. So I'm going to add enough allowance to mine. So I added like 3 inches of allowance, or 2.5 inches. So that's just like the only part where I am going to mark. Okay. So the next thing now, I'm going to take that line. From that line I'm going to mark it to the hem. So by the way, the down part, when you are folding your fabric, you are going to, the down part, you are going to use how wide you want the A line to be, to measure your down part. So for mine I used about 23 inches thereabout for the down. So my fabric was folded at like 23. So from that point you are going to measure the length. That's from that first line. So you can see the way I'm navigating my, what do you call it, tape for my measurement. If not, the down part is not going to have that flay part. It's not going to form properly. So you need it staying on that straight line, and then from that line you navigate and measure the entire length. That's the same length. So like I said, I use about 34 inches for this length of this top part of the A-line gown. Okay. So after everything, I'm just trying to double check so you can see. You see, it is a beautiful piece. So like I said, I used 23 inches for the down part. I used about 23 because I remember initially I wanted to use 25, and I said no, it will be too wide. So I used about 23. I reduced it to about 23. So after cutting, you can see, so I'll fold my fabric again and then place this on another fabric. So on that's, I'll fold the remaining part of my fabric and then place it on top. If you notice, I did not add any zip allowance. That's because I'm not going to add a zip to my A-line gown. I'm going to add a button at the back of the neckline. Okay. So after folding them together, I want to, both of this is the back and the front. I'm using 3.5 inches for the wideness of the neckline, and then for the back neckline I use 2 inches. Can you see? I measured it down. And then for the front neckline, I'm going to add a V neckline. So for that V neckline, I used about 7 inches. So you can see, so I'll mark my 7 inches. I'm cutting the back and the front together. I'll mark the 7 inches. After marking my 7 inches, I am going to mark it this way. So can you see? So I'm just trying to add the neckline. So I've added the front neckline. So I'll cut out the back neckline first. Can you see? And then I'll cut out the front neckline. And then open. Can you see the way I slitted the back? That part was a little bit fast. So I just created a slit for the back neckline, slit of about 4 inches. So for this part, I was trying to cut a facing for my front piece with my remaining fabric. So I cut out a facing. So made about 12 inches. That's the length. Can you see? And then just cut it using the top part. So that's going to be for the front facing. So this, you can see the slit for the back. So after that, I'll take them to my, I'll show you guys how to stitch them. That's this facing. If you don't want to make use of a facing, you can make use of your bias. So you're just going to sew it and then turn it. So for the back piece, my Mikado got finished. So I had to use a lining piece for the back facing, okay? If I had not cut out the first one, so you can see the slit at the back, can you see? I'll just sew it round. I'll sew it, just navigate the whole neckline to the slit, and then I'll turn it. So you can see after everything, this is the back piece. So you can see I'm trimming it out now. Can you see the way I'm trimming it? And then I'll just put that slit. So after everything, now I'm just going to push out everything. I'll turn it and then push it out and iron it. So like I said, if I had not used the Mikado for the first one, I would have used lining for both of them. So you can see how neat and clean that back is, you see. So we're done with that for the back. It's a simple project, and then this is our front piece. So you can see even the back piece laid flatter. I like the lining part laid flatter. So the next thing, I'm going to take the shoulder, both the front shoulder of the A-line dress and the back shoulder. I'll place them together for the A-line part of this gown, and then I'll slit sew it and then sew the side. So you can see, like I said, it's a simple project. So after sewing, you can see how this looks. So you see the back, and then this is the front. So the next thing now, we're going to create a high low for the piece for this A line. So what I'm going to do, so for the front piece, can you see the way I placed it? I came up to about 3 inches, and I'm going to cut that out. Can you see? I'm cutting it out just on the front. You can see the way I placed it. That's after folding. I now placed it this way. As I opened it, I placed it, and then I am cutting that out. That's what I folded the front. So at this point, I folded the front into two, and I am trimming that part that I marked out. So you can cut it from the beginning. You can create your A line, high low. Sorry. So can you see? After everything, I weaved the down part because we are going to be doing a top stitch. Okay, so I weaved the down part, and then this is my piece that I'm going to use for the gathers. So the length that I'm using is about 14 inches. That's 14 or 15 inches. And then if you notice, I set the down part, every part, the four part of the fabric. I did that industrial weaving for it, everything. You can see the way it is looking. So the length of this dress, that's the longness, is about 5 yards. It's almost 5 yards, you understand? So the length, I used 15 inches, so I just cut it and then joined all of my remaining Mikado to it. So when I measure the full long length, it's almost 5 yards. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So at this point, I'm using like 1 inch to pleat this. That's what I mean, that I'm creating tiny, tiny pleats. I just came down to like 1 inch and then started creating the pleats because I had already sketched the edge of my fabric, so you can see the way it is looking. If you don't want to set, you can fold the mouth and then still create your gathers. You can use your gather footer. You can use, so for this, because it's bulky, I know that I'm going to sweat if I say I want to use my foot. So that is why I just decided to pleat it. And then I took the center part of the front piece. I actually started fixing mine from the front. It is better to start fixing it from the front so that anything that is remaining, you can manipulate it at the back, okay? So you can see. So I'm just stitching it. That 1 inch that I used that time as I was creating the pleats, that same line where I stitched the pleats is that same line I am using to sew it. So I'll just sew it round, and then when I got to the end, the back, I just needed a little bit of unfolding, and then I just stitch everything, and everything came out well. So it entered well. So when you finish creating your gathers, please measure. You understand? So for the down part, I'm just going to fold the down part. So measure, make sure that the down part of your blouse and the down part of your gathers, they are the same. Or else, if you've already started, it's not going to work, okay? So the next thing, I'm measuring the armhole, the round armhole. I want to create a straight sleeve for this A-line dress. So I'll come to this point. I measured about 10 inches. I'll mark it. I came down by 5 inches, and then I'll connect it. Okay, so you can see, so that part, that's what I was saying. I mark my 10 inches from that part, and then just create a curve. So that place where that curve is, I came down from the top by 5 inches. So that is it. So from here you are going to measure the length. So I used about 13 inches, and then from here I'll measure how wide I want the sleeve to be. So I use 7 inches, which is 14. I'll just mark it, and then just cut this piece out, and then I'll use the piece to cut my sleeve. So please, if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I would appreciate. So I'll just sew, stitch, join, and then I'm going to fix the sleeve, so you can see. So like I said, please, if you want to register for my online classes, you can see my number on the screen. So I'll take the top part of the shoulder and then match it with the top part of my sleeve, and I am going to fix it, just fix it round. So like I said, if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. For those of you that want to be pro in pattern drafting, you can be following me on all of my live slave streams. I used to have live classes most of the evenings of the week. Like today, I'm going to do a live stream, so you can join me and learn how to, and what do I say, highlight or elevate your pattern drafting skills. Okay, so at the end of the day, this was the dress. It came out really fine, beautiful. So I am still going to use some applique to decorate it though. So I need to get a confirmation from the owner first. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys. So this is the back. You can see I use that Chinese collar. That is what it is called. You can use any button of your choice. Is it Chinese